Hello everyone, welcome to my presentation for the International Conference on Advanced Computing and Applications. So as you may have known, there are articles affirming on an optimistic prospects in terms of Vietnam's digital transformation promoting stage. This conclusion was based on the rapid economic growth rate, fast middle class growing, large number of technology specialists, and little systematic risk of the country. Digital transformation, however, is a general definition which may include various ideas or components. This research only mentions the simplest idea of transforming old paperwork into spreadsheet or any digital forms. So the rise of digital transformation in Vietnam is hardly denied, but not every organization can keep up with the transition. There are also office work that's still being solved by hand, which are remained usually because of their specificity, difficulties, or simply not being realized by skilled workers. This situation has been found in Vietnam University by conducting a quick surveys of the financial planning divisions. So that's why we from the Vietnam National University are here to present you about the topic, an efficient method to extract data from bank statement based on image-based table detection and recognition approach. So a bank statement is a document also known as an account statement that is typically sent by the bank to the account holder every month, summarizing all the transactions of an account during the month. So this is an example of the bank statement. The accountants from the Financial Planning Division, they indicated that they are responsible for reading, understanding, and adding financial transactions one by one on the bank statement to a school-specific software for storage and handling financial data. This literally means that the accountant currently type in all the necessary text and numbers, which can be described as a time-consuming, manpower wastage, and inefficient working style. This is not to mention the inaccuracy when the work is overloaded or some fields are skipped. Therefore, it is critical to address the problem with a digital transformation solution, which is the motivation for this research. To accomplish this study, we review some related works analyzing many different aspects. So the ultimate goal to move forward is fully automating the conversion process. It should mimic the manipulations of humans from getting all information from a document to adding them into the software. The objective can be achieved by performing two main techniques, document layout analysis and robotic process automation. However, this study focuses only on table OCR to reach the first goal. The extracted text will be saved in spreadsheet and served for the next stage. So the rest of my presentation is organized as follow. I will mention the methodology and experiment, then the result and discussion, and finally the conclusion of the paper. Now comes to the methodology. In many cases, when PDFs are not readable or mistakes occur too regularly, well-known computer vision libraries may tackle the problem more effectively than any other solutions. Researchers try to find and construct tables using heuristic methods. The rule-based system focuses on the physical and logical structure of the table in order to discover and recognize information contained in the tables. In this study approach, the input data should be images containing tables. The expected output is a data frame and Excel file with an identical tabular structure. To achieve this goal, we need to process four main paths, which consist of PDF pre-processing, table detection, cell recognition, and text extraction. About the data being used during the experiment, they will include bank statement files in PDF format. Each file in the bank statement of 1 month contains several pages, and each page contains one table only. But the first page also includes necessary information of the file. In the scope of this research, we do not pay attention to the part. Only the information inside the table is extracted. The table of this file is the most basic form, which means there are no much cells, no broken lines, no invisible lines or the special designs. However, the most usual problem is hidden text. This problem occurs when the PDF file was exported without being correctly justified by the text displayed. Literally, the text still exists but cannot be seen and seriously affected by the image-based approach. Therefore, the study assumed that the bank tellers have received the file export requirement and can display each row fully. Moving on to the preprocessing, the very first step is to import some Python libraries, but the main and most used module is CV2 from OpenCV. OpenCV deals with every main processing of the project while the other supports for inner steps. Since not every file is text-based PDF, this study to process data as images instead of documents, with the hope of covering a larger range of data. Therefore, it is compulsory to begin with converting the input data. This step can be easily done using the Python model named PDF to image. Several experiments in computer vision prove the better quality of using binary and inverted image. Converting the image into a binary image will make the task easier. Also, inverting its background with lines and font color is a preparation step for applying kernels. This image the final input for the main processing batch. Moving on to the table detection, a table detected when its position is known and all lines are reviewed. In other words, this part focuses on detecting lines of the table, which will serve the requirements of finding cells. But an advantage of bank statements is the feature of containing usually only one table on each page. This will eliminate the mistakes when trying to detect the intersection of rows and columns to separate multiple tables in an image. A traditional approach to image processing is morphological operation, but the implicit meaning of finding kernels is to enhance the image eroding and dilating result. By doing so, even broken lines can be automatically fixed without performing more operations. We can redraw the input table's vertical and horizontal line structure by making fair use of OpenCV library. Therefore, detect rectangular boxes, aka cells, by weighting both lines with 0.5. The next step is contour detectant, which helps us retrieve each box exact coordinates, and we can arrange them in the desired order. So the cell coordinates are defined by the above stage of the method, but more action must be done to understand the relation of the cell to the whole table. This study addresses the problem simply by comparing the position differences among cells mathematically. Each element in the cell list contains a topmost coordinate x and y, width and height. If the y value of the selected cell is smaller than the previous one, that cell is still in the same column as the preceding. If not, it must be the first cell of the following column. However, we cannot ignore the case of a skewed image, which leads to the action of adding a height mean value when comparing y values. But the means must be small enough to correctly separate cells while not accidentally combine two different rows. The mean divided by 8 is the best result received after some quick text. The row list is the container of columns that are logically arranged from left to right. From the received row and column list, we may now calculate the number of columns and cells and get the columns midpoint, arrange them in the right order. The return output contains cells from left to right and from top to bottom of the table. This helps us to extract text from each cell and create the Excel file easier. As explained, we get the mean of cell heights to have with dividing rows. For the first page example, the mean value is 119.25. This value is varied upon different cell heights. Then we row building rectangles for each cell by getting the top left corner coordinate, width, and height of the cells. Four figures are added to an array as x, y, w, h respectively. Another array is created to include every cell array. In the parent array, we can acknowledge cells on the same row if they have the same y and h values with an error of plus or minus 1. Likewise, for the column separation, from the result, we can realize the bottom to top order of rows. We can get the correct numbers of columns, which is 6, and rearrange them by getting the columns midpoint. We now get the final boxes list containing cells of left to right columns and top to bottom rows. Once every cell has been defined, we will apply tesseract OCR to each cell respectively. The key idea here is applying a powerful OCR engine from Google on a clear and cropped image, which hopefully gives the best possible recognition. The preparation step includes dilating and eroding to enhance the image quality. Then we assign different parameters of biotexturist for different types of data. In the comparison condition statement, I stands for rows and J stands for column. The first row, or I equals 0, is the title row containing Vietnamese, so the Vietnamese text data must be used here. Other rows use the default English language for better text recognition. For the columns, the first column containing only date format, which will be best recognized by BSM12. The third, fourth, and fifth columns contains only numbers because the columns represent financial values, so we restrict them with number of characters only, but also include comma, a value separators in Vietnamese mathematics. The final columns contains special strings for reference. It may have capital letters, numbers, or both. The recognition process is limited with the characters. The last circumstance then is the second column, which is the content of each financial transaction. Normally, there's no rules for the content, therefore, no limitation are added here. The final step is to convert the list into a data frame and save it into an Excel file, which is also the final output of the whole process. Each PDF file will be converted into a new Excel file, while each page of the PDF is equivalent to each sheet of the Excel. A sheet contains all extracted text from the single table of a page. With correctly defined cells, Tessera can effectively extract the content from the crop image. The example result is shown in the table. Come to the result. The only measurement used here is accuracy, and it is applied for the final text output from the whole process. For most values, it is required for the extracted characters to be the same as the relative values. The reason for this is most columns contains numbers, date, and especially money values, which should not be wrong. Except for the content column, we use the Levenstein distance algorithm. This because we hardly get all the characters the same as the actual values when there are many characters in a cell. Besides, the content can still be understood with a certain number of mistakes. This research created two GraphQL files, respectively containing 6 and 10 pages. Because of the difference in data type, we separate them into 4 categories as in the table. The most significant disparity is that between the content columns of two fields. Given hypothesis for this result is the difficulties when distinguishing among letters and special characters. To be more precise, the second file includes a lot of characters such as the @ sign and the square brackets. So this is a quick result review for the whole process. The input is the PDF files and the output Excel files. Each Excel sheet is corresponding to a page in the PDF file. So solving the table recognition problem in OCR requires a separate result in each of the phases. These steps can be solved separately or concurrently depending on the solution we are aiming for. This report only captures one of the widely disseminated approaches and performs the traditional computer vision approach using OpenCV. It is imperative to understand that the main aim of AI project is high accuracy in measurement. The approach performed has simplified table recognition solutions, but did not satisfy the practical application requirements. Specifically for financial data, the accuracy should reach 100% to be firmly used. Therefore, it is necessary to dig deeper and carry out more modification for the method or combine it with other solutions to get higher accuracy. So this research aimed to identify a possible solution for the digital transformation problem. Based on the requirement analysis and experiments, it proposed a possible solution converting PDFs into Excels, which get the accuracy of most cases higher than 90%. It can be concluded that the study performed an acceptable approach that had the potential for improvements. Not many of the available problems can be solved without good notice, especially a problem that has not been found. A general solution must be tested as a customized solution. This research proved that within the scope of the problem, an image-based solution using OpenCV is good enough to be used in reality. However, it is necessary to reaffirm that the study performed only a small scope of the whole problem, and more difficult cases must be tested. Besides, it had not mentioned other approaches to put them in comparison. Moreover, for this specific type of documents related to financing, an accuracy nearly absolute should be reached if it wants to become a reliable solution. So this is all for an efficient method to extract data from bank statements based on image-based table detection and recognition approach. Thank you for listening.